Hello, welcome everyone. We're happy to bring you another recap video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. King Sheng became teary now as she proceeded to tell April that she had returned from the United Kingdom, which is why she cannot avoid him no matter what, and due to that, she needed to know about his current lifestyle so she does not end up offending him in any way. She had no other choice. April sighed softly, beginning to think about everything her brother has changed in amidst. For the past 3 years, she slowly told her that nothing had changed in him except that he did not like people sitting in his passenger seat, which annoyed him for some reason. She also added that most of the girls he had spent time with were dumped for this reason. They sat in the passenger seat. King Sheng was listening to April attentively as she also told her that all of the previous girls he had been were just hookups because he needed to face them due to condition. He did not like that at all. King Sheng understood what she was saying and wrote everything down in the diary, emphasizing that she should never sit in the passenger seat. He would get offended and she could not afford to let that happen. King Sheng then went to the bathroom to take a shower. The day was going to be hard. Soon she was done showering and exited the house. She finally drove her car towards their destination. The usual place. Actually, there has been an old rule between Gu Qingqing and Tang Shai that he would bring her to vacation here on the 10th of every month. It was a beautiful resort, and over time it also had an unwritten rule where on the 10th of each month, the resort had to be closed for everyone including the public and shall only be reserved for them. Soon Gu Qingsheng had arrived at the destination and parked her car, making way towards the main door as she was greeted by the old man. He knew her already, considering they had met 3 years ago. Qingsheng entered the resort and made her way to the room she mostly used to stay in. She sat down on the bed and checked her phone. It was only 9 p.m. She still had to wait for Tang Shi to arrive. While the Tangshan group, Lin, Manhwa, and Lu Ran were sitting in their office all together having a discussion when suddenly one of them questioned whether the other two felt that the day was weird. The sun was about to set. They questioned his instincts as he suddenly realized that today was the 10th of the current month. His eyes widened in horror. He now realized why he was feeling weird since morning, as if something was not going right. Things were out of place. Manhwa jumped up from his seat, telling Lin and Lu Ran that Tang Shi had come to the office early in the morning and was still working non-stop, and all of them had been instructed to work overtime today. It was shocking since it had never happened before. Lin was surprised since, like the usual 10th of every month, Tang Shi should have gotten to the Red Garden Resort early in the morning instead of working in his office. Something was not adding up. Manhwa walked out of the office, telling Lin and Lu Ran that he shall talk to Tang Shi himself about this. He walked towards his office and opened the door, asking Tang Shai if he would like to go out with them to eat something since it was getting late. Tang Shi was busy focusing on the screen of his laptop as she proceeded to type away, telling Manhwa that he shall not be able to go out with him today since he had something to do tonight. Manhwa then suggested that he take some rest since he had not rested properly in a long time, so he asked him to pause his work for tonight and enjoy his day. Manhwa also added that since he had not seen the university girl in a long while, he would do Tang Shi a favor by picking her up for him so he could enjoy it. Manhwa kept giving him some ideas for him to enjoy the night. He thought of inviting a girl called Lulu over, as she had just finished filming and would be a delight to him. He told Tang Shi about a list of girls who were busy typing on his computer. He asked him if he would like to spend time with Zhang Na, Lin, or Annie. Manhwa kept bothering him with questions, wanting to get a reaction out of him, but Tang Shi, instead of lashing out at him, just grabbed his coat and walked right past him, aiming towards the door, telling him to get out of his sight, making Manhwa tremble. Tang Shi now had to drive towards the Red Garden Resort. He soon arrived at the place and exited his car, only to get greeted by the old man, who informed him that Gu Qingsheng had been waiting for him for quite a while now. She had been waiting for him since morning in the room. Tang Shi did not respond to anything to the old worker and just followed him inside. Proceeding to make way towards the door, he gently twisted the door's handle as Gu Qingqing jumped by surprise. She almost had lost track of time waiting for him. Tang Shai entered the room as Gu Qingqing called him by his name like she used to, as he remembered how formally she had addressed him yesterday. He did not pay much attention to her and told her that he wanted to sleep, and immediately sat down on the bed, looking at her petite frame standing near the doorway. He asked her if she knew what she had to do next. Gu Qingsheng kept staring down at her feet as if unaware of his presence. He was annoyed and asked her if she remembered their deal and what she was here for, whether she had forgotten. Hence, he reminded her that she would get a position at his company if she succeeds in listening to him tonight. All of it depended on her. She could not say anything and kept listening as he asked if she remembered anything about what he taught her 3 years ago, and if she had not, he might be able to teach her again. She slowly walked closer to him with her trembling figure, her hands reaching up to his collar, slowly unbuttoning the shirt downwards. Her fingers would not stop trembling as she slowly moved her way down. She had always been forced to do things she never had a liking towards since childhood, and even this time she was not doing anything with her own will, she was forced to. She had to look after her family. That was her agenda since she was a child. She really did not care anymore. Her shirt was finally off as her hands paused at the lock of the belt. She was questioning her decisions. Tang Shi advised her to think about her goal behind agreeing to this arrangement. She gulped, thinking of closing her eyes before moving her hand forward again with a reluctant face as if she did not want to be there, partially true. Tang Shi was annoyed and told her to get rid of that reluctant expression on her face since no one had forced her to do this, so she came to him by herself. In a stern manner, Tang Shi told her that if cannot do what he ordered her to do, then she may leave right now but forget about getting a position in his company, if she was unable to please him. Hu Qingqing did not say anything and instead moved her head forwards only for it to get twisted by Tang Shi. He flipped her over against the soft mattress and kissed her. Soon the night and their deal had come to an end. He used her once again as tears cascaded down her once rosy cheeks. Tang Shi and Gu Qingqing were now laying side by side. Tang Shi was staring at the ceiling while Gu Qingqing was thinking whether she succeeded in doing what he wanted. Hesitatingly, she pulled up the covers and asked him if she is eligible now to join Shengtang Enterprise from tomorrow as it was said before. Tang Shi did not say anything but slowly got up wearing his shirt as he sighed. Out of the blue, he told her to leave his place, making her sit up straight as she questioned him whether she had made a mistake or had offended him in any way. Hu Qingqing slowly hugged him from behind, and they stayed like that for a moment before he ordered her to get out of the place quite harshly. Salt covered her cheeks as she moved back hurriedly, wearing her clothes and grabbing her stuff. She could not help but think how no one has ever made her feel so defeated. She had never been so embarrassed in front of a man. It was the lowest level, yet here she was, but she could not cry either, since she chose this and had to do it. With steady feet, Hu Qingqing exited the room, thinking how possibly she could have her shame removed from her for a man who was heartless, while Tang Shi grabbed his forehead, unable to comprehend what he did. The next morning at Go Mansion, Qingqing's mother and father were waiting for her at the breakfast table. She arrived home not so soon after and entered the main hall. As soon as she did, her parents bombarded her with questions about yesterday, asking her about how she had spent the time with Tang Shi yesterday and what happened between them and if they got along. Her father then asked her if Tang Shi's behavior was nice to her, to which she hesitatingly mumbled a yes. As she was having her breakfast, her father asked her whether she had gotten the position in his company, making her pause, the spoon floating in front of her mouth as she thought about it. Her father again questioned if she was hiding something from them which they needed to know. After a few moments of contemplating whether she should tell them or not since they would be disappointed in her, she decided to tell them the truth. Just when she was about to tell them, Qingqing's phone rang, breaking the silence. She picked it up, and the other side informed her that she had been selected for a position at Shengtang Enterprise and told her to come by the office this afternoon for further procedures. She was surprised and told her parents that she shall be working at Shengtang Enterprise from tomorrow. Both her parents were happy and smiled happily. After a few days, Gu Qingqing had already started working at Shengtang Enterprise. She was doing her work at her table as she thought about how it had been a while since she had started working here, but she still had not gotten a glimpse of Tang Shi. She thought that he must be avoiding her. With these thoughts in mind, Gu Qingqing made way towards the ladies' room. She was so engrossed in her thoughts that she did not notice the girl walking past her to go outside until she called Qingqing out loud. She was Cheng Xi. She had entered the Shengtang Enterprise before their graduation from university. Both of them were familiar with each other. Qingqing smiled and greeted her, and both exchanged some formal discussions. Cheng then asked Gu Qingqing if she was doing well considering how off her face seemed. Qingqing asked her about the whereabouts of Tang Shi since she had not seen him in days. Cheng Xi told her that Tang Shi had gone on a business trip to Hong Kong and shall be back this afternoon. That was why he had not been to the office in days. Qingqing nodded, understanding it. As they were talking, their conversation was disrupted by a sharp female voice. She sounded suspicious as she came into view. Her name was Feng Yi, and she was the secretary of Tang Shi. She had long purple hair as she folded her arms, asking Gu Qingqing if she wanted something as to why she was asking Cheng Xi about the Tang Shi schedule. She was aware about the past between Tang Shi and Gu Qingqing. She mocked her about her relationship with him and said that she heard that she was dumped by Tang Shi for trying to pull a stunt with him, which is why she had left for the United Kingdom. Gu Qingqing remained silent and looked down as Feng Yi asked her whether she had felt depressed during her 3 years in the United Kingdom, knowing she was dumped by Tang Shi. She laughed, pitying her. While Gu Qingqing grinned looking up at Feng Yi with big proud eyes, she added to her information that she had been doing very well in the United Kingdom for the past 3 years. She was happy and content and in fact way better than her. King Cheng mocked her back by telling her that she was happy, unlike her, who had to please everyone in her household, being an illegitimate daughter. Feng Yai was an illegitimate child of the Feng family. Feng Yai was about to say something as Gu Qingcheng cut her off by asking her that if Tang Shai did not want to see her like she claims to be, then she had no reason to sit in his secretary's office when he could get anyone to do the job. Feng Yai was outrageously mad as she shouted at King Cheng to not to forget that Tang Shi could literally get any woman he wants, and that was the last thing on his mind, so she should not be so full of herself. She also added that Gu Qingcheng was just here because Tang Shi had not seen her in 3 years, which is why he was just picking her up for a chance. It was for attention. But Gu Qingcheng was not bothered at all as she retreated back at her by asking that she herself made it clear that he would never pick her up even if he was looking for a chance. Tang Shi would never flirt or do anything with Feng Yi. King Sheng was not going to get demeaned by her easily. She advised Feng Yi not to cry since her eyes were becoming glossy. She told her that she should save it since it would ruin her makeover. Hu Qingcheng then walked out of the bathroom telling her that Tang Shi would be back in the afternoon, leaving her hurt and mad as she clenched her fists. As all of them made their way back to the main office, everyone was greeting Tang Shai, who had just arrived from his business trip alongside Lin, Lu Ran, and Manhwa, who were his best friends. Everyone got up from their seats to welcome and greet him, while Tang Shi greeted them back. He made way to the end of the hall and made eye contact with Gu Qingcheng, who was holding a file. As soon as she was about to say something, he immediately rushed into his office, slamming the door behind, leaving the poor girl dumbfounded as everyone talked behind her back. Well, that's all for now. Remember to like and subscribe and comment for part 2.